my friends. We are in our entrepreneurial unit in our business course, and today we're going to look at the entrepreneur and how you can start visualizing and formulating your business and your side hustle. Entrepreneurship is a huge factor. It is the backbone of the United States economy. 27.5 million businesses, and most of them are in the small entrepreneur. That is, we're taking all the risks upon ourselves. And the Small Business Administration defines the following. That a small business will be independently owned and operated, relatively terms in annual sales. Now, it could still be several $1 million, my friends. We're just not, more than likely, we're not in the hundreds of millions or and beyond. And fewer than 500 employees. Hey, I would say if you have a business at around 100 employees, that's a very, very good-sized business. But in the small entrepreneurial world, most have less than 10 employees, and many just have themselves. No idea is too small. Every month since the early aughts, it's been an amazing run. Probably Shark Tank has had a lot to do with that. That everyday people can start their own business. So at least 500,000 are started each month. 12% of the population. The United States is actually involved trying to start a new business. And so it's a great spirit. And we know that if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, we're one of the best economies to start that business. We just have such a great platform, an ecosystem, if you would want to look at it that way, that there's just so much support and a great customer base. So this is a great place to do that. Generations, even this current Z generation, generation or Zsters are the #1 generation in college right now, and certainly in your schools. And so they've seen it. They've kind of witnessed the Shark Tank from its inception, and maybe their parents has some sort of an entrepreneurial spirit, as millennials did too. 80% of Zsters would like to make their hobbies into a business career to support themselves. Again, either full or part-time. So excellent, excellent. Great motivation here. Just a real quick look at the role of the entrepreneur. Most people think, well, I don't know if most people, but a lot of people think that large, big tech businesses and run the show and all innovation, and that's just not true. It's the small business that creates so many new things. 75% of all new jobs are created by the small entrepreneur. 98% of new radical products, according to the National Science Foundation. 50% of all private sector employees are somehow connected to the small entrepreneurial business. Non-farm payroll, GDP, I mean, in all sorts of ways. So it's a great endeavor, and we need the entrepreneur in a free market economy to drive it. We must have entrepreneurs. We must have that spirit, people trying to get their own ideas into action and able to monetize them. A couple of levels of entrepreneurship I think we want to look at, and that is most people, if you could say, hey, I would take a $70, $80, $90, $100,000 a year income. If I could generate that for myself and I could call my own shots, replace my income, would you do that? And the majority of people in today's workforce would say, yeah, why not? I don't mind working for myself, and I can sustain myself in the same current lifestyle. So that's what we have. We have a lifestyle or salary-based business. That's usually how one can start. I'm trying to replace my income. I'm built around my personal financial needs and my individuals and my family. You know, maybe my family can help me work the business as well. So I may have a service business, which are very easy to start and usually can cash flow quite quickly. I mean, unless you are buying a lot of equipment, typical service businesses can cash flow within 3 months, positive cash flow. The owner is the manager, probably few employees. Again, the form of business would be that sole proprietorship, could be a single member LLC or just a small LLC. What we're trying to do here, just because we're small, we're still trying to establish the proof of concept. And the proof of concept means, will it work? I'm testing the business model. Does it work? Does it generate cash flow? Can I get customers? Are people buying into my product or my service that I am selling. I could be a consultant, I could be doing an eBay, I could do some sort of online business, could be doing a traditional brick and mortar. Whatever I'm doing, I'm establishing the proof and I'm seeing that it works. So that is the first time. Then of course we do have the high growth venture. High growth venture is basically an established proof of concept. Hey, it is working. Now I believe we can take our innovation, we can take our restaurant, we can take whatever we're doing, franchise it, make it bigger, scale it to a mass market. And the way we grow our business is we penetrate the market we're in, we expand more customers and see how far we take that, or we expand into new markets. We create new products and services for other markets as well. So we're run by a team, not just an individual. We need professional help. So we have professional employees. This is where we would need the help of an angel investor or a venture capitalist, generally the same thing, that can help us guide us to the next big level. And our form of ownership may be from, we started as a LLC, and then we move to a private corporation, and at some point we'll try to move that to a public corporation. But we're looking for high growth, high market share, employing many people. Because why? We have the established proof of concepts. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, to name a few, Michael Dell, they started in either a closet or a garage, getting Apple ready, getting Amazon ready, getting Dell computer ready. And some of that was for several years. And they got the proof of concept, they had the venture capital, they were able to scale it. So there's nothing wrong, my friends, of starting very small and using somebody else to help you, because it's very difficult, as we've talked about earlier, to raise a lot of funding if it's just you trying to establish that proof of concept. A venture capitalist, generally speaking, wants to see the proof of concept, wants to see sales, good sales, before they start lending their professional advice. Why have we seen so much of an increase of entrepreneurs? Well, where we are today, the platforms are right at us. If we were back in the 1980s, it's difficult just to do market research. Now we have the internet, the most disruptive technology of all time so far. It allows lots of small companies to compete. We can have a worldwide market if that's our choosing, just via some of the platforms of eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, Etsy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even Walmart's system, as you could be a seller on Walmart's online system. So digitized economy, online payments, pretty secure with what we have with PayPal, Square, Venmo. You can get that money pretty quickly and very safely. Also, there's crowdfunding. Someone will help your cause. So I could go on, but technology and the internet have been great factors of increasing the entrepreneurship. And again, we're reducing risks somewhat because we have better information to go on and better platforms to use. Well, the rise of women-owned and minority-owned businesses are huge. 30% of all small businesses just starting out right now are women's businesses. And so, hey, we've seen downsizing, we've seen outsourcing. Many times we could be downsized in an organization, but the organization says, what you could do is you be a consultant for us, and we'll pay you this rate as long as you work 30% for us. We can pay you X amount of dollars, and you're free to get other clients. And so those have been some other reasons as well. Of course, when we look at the global market, most of the fastest growing companies, especially as you're getting into a medium size, have global sales. And again, platforms are in place. So, ready to make the jump. Are you highly disciplined? That's usually the characteristics of some entrepreneurs. That means their motor is running. They get up the day. There's always opportunities. Not sleeping until 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then hitting the clubs at 10 at night. They're working always, loving to control the destiny. The big thing that I believe, and most people would tell you, that an entrepreneur always sees a problem, that can visualize problems as opportunities, and some, like the ones we have talked about, Steve Jobs, Bezos, et cetera, Henry Ford, see problems before anybody else even sees them. Those are great gifts. They remain very positive in the face of failure. I believe the number is over 300, but it took Starbucks, which is now 50 years old, it took Starbucks 300 plus venture capitalists. 300 said no. I think it's somewhere around 340. The 340th one said, you know what? I do like the idea. Starbucks was basically 1971 when it started its stores in the Washington State area, Seattle and Tacoma area. And coffee, who cares? It's black and it's bitter. It's not. You got to add so much to it. It's kind of like that rot gut coffee, and how they made it into a very sociable, entertaining drink. Someone finally said yes. How positive were those? They loved the business. They were positive, knowing that the product that they were going to do, we're going to serve coffee the way the customer wants it, and you just tell us what you want, we'll make it that way. Is pretty amazing. Into that kind of positive. Do we have that, my friends? That positivity. How many times did Henry Ford? How many times has so many people told no, 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 no? The Fred Smith, who was come back from the Navy back in the 1960s, I believe, was at a Yale University, wrote a paper for a business class on his business idea, and the business professor said, "That's never going to work. I mean, I'm going to give you a C, the grade of a C, because you did it, but you can never go against the biggest, largest employer in business in the world." At the time was the United States Post Office, and Fred Smith's idea was Federal Express. And so don't ever listen to a college professor or don't listen to anybody else if they don't like your idea. You keep hashing it out, keep establishing that proof of concept. If that is your positivity, creativity, ambition, and of course there's always risk. The entrepreneur does assume the risks of business. They put their money, their heart, and soul into their idea, and at the risk of nobody accepting it. So, again, before you jump 100% into your own business, and if that is you, then hey, fantastic. But do you like those paid vacations? For those of us who have a full-time job and benefits, do we enjoy our weekends to relax and have fun? The retirement funding, the paid sick leave. Before you jump completely out of that realm, if you're in it, maybe make this business on a part-time basis. The micropreneur, first establish that concept before you jump in, and that can mitigate and reduce some of those risks, my friend. Because there it is, can you go too far? The law of risk and return in the business world: a higher degree of risk, we should get a higher degree of reward. All right, we're not going to do all of this just to say break even. Okay. And I have in here, as I've said many years ago, while you're young, and again, that could be anything under 50 years old, where you don't have too much more to lose. And what I mean by that, if you did lose everything in your 20s, 30s, probably even early 40s, you have enough time and energy to make everything back. It just gets much more difficult in your 50s, 60s, and 70s to do that. And so maybe you want to lower that risk in those ages. So it's a great time to get that experience. And also, while you want to do it young, because you got the energy to do it, this takes everything out of you. For those of us who have been self-employed in any way or shape or form, know that you are working those 12-hour days, but it's a lot of fun because you're doing it for yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. We're closed. We just had no idea what we were doing. We said 500 businesses go into effect every month. There may be the same amount going out of business every month, and there's many reasons for that. It does look rather draconian to say that, my God, I can't make it to past year 6. Well, many entrepreneurs and many sole proprietorships and small business quote entrepreneurs just say, I've had it. I'm going to do something different. So the business closes down. Remember, in the sole proprietorship world, there's nothing I have to do. I just say, tomorrow I'm done. I'm going to do something else. And so we may not know why that business went away. Now, we do know that the reasons businesses do go bankrupt, and the number one reason is we forgot about our customer. We did not create value for our customer anymore. And again, we can just look at some behemoth level size companies, Blockbuster, Kodak, just to put two of them right on the drawing board, which were very relevant recent day giant organizations. Kodak owned their industry, owned photography for over 100 years. Blockbuster took all the mom and pop, well, not all of them, but I think you understand what I'm saying, a tremendous amount of mom and pop video stores. That was just the person who was doing pretty well. And it became just huge, and yet they kind of were so performance driven that they weren't able to learn and make it an enjoyable experience, possibly in their later years. And so when disruption came, they had no idea how to stop it. And I say stop it, how to adapt to it, and how to be on the cutting edge of that. So when you forget your customer and you don't make value, the second reason that businesses go out is no cash flow. Obviously, if I'm not making sales, I have little cash flow left to make expenditures and expenses and payrolls. So that's probably it. And again, it all leans back to maybe we're not strategically thinking, which can be difficult sometimes for the single entrepreneur, sole proprietorship, because we're doing so many different things. We're the technician. We're running the business itself, and we maybe don't have all that time to think strategically and entrepreneurially. That's maybe the least amount of time we have, and that's what we should be doing the most of. The business model just created limited value because things are always changing around us. And of course, maybe we never had that ability to raise the capital that we really wanted to take this off. So there are multiple reasons. And just remember, many do decide to move on. So the business model, that's the easiest way to look at our design. You're designing a business, and we're going to try to design it with a sketch pad. And this is our sketch pad. Now, Strategizer, strategizer.com, I was at an entrepreneurial convention years ago, and they put this together, and so I've just not giving them all the credit, because I just put something else together for you that I think can help you sketch out your design very quickly and then write it. But the business model, again, how we sustain ourselves in the long run, what is the value proposition, which is the most important, all right? Because that's going to create your revenue. How do we generate that revenue? What are we doing that people like? What problems are we solving? What's our customer relations? And how's it sustainable? Do you have any hobbies, my friends? All right, start with very basic ideas here. Can it solve a problem for enough customers to begin and build a business? There it is. We all have pain. That's what unites the human race. And our customers have pains, and they need us to solve that pain, to ease that pain, to solve the problem. So just remember, in your idea, what pain points are we solving? When we solve someone else's pain, that's the start of a good business idea. Does the pain that we solve, does the business idea create enough value to generate a lifetime customer? When we say lifetime customer, let's just say we want repeat business. Must have that. The business model must sustain itself with a customer continually utilizing our product or service. And how can it be different than what's already out there? Because I know we all have great ideas. Probably somebody else has had that idea too. How do we a little bit different and better? Great value propositions, my friends. They focus on what people want done, that relieves that pain and gives them a gain, okay? Different than anyone else is doing. And if it's difficult to copy, that's a great business model. So, customer pain points. With your idea, what might your customers define as too costly? We always think money. Everybody wants the lowest price. Maybe that's true. And I would say that's not how you're going to build your business model or your business. You cannot just compete on low price, because there's too many low price providers out there. And you don't want to race to the bottom. You want to race to the top. So, besides money, maybe time consumption. All right, maybe something requires a lot of effort. And so again, this is where the service businesses can come in and do very, very, very well. What makes your customers feel bad? What's their frustrations? You really have to have the empathy. Get your mind inside of your customer. How do they feel? Be empathetic. What the frustrations? What negative or social consequences do your customers fear? Is there a loss of faith, power, trust, or status? Had a young student a few years ago. He was an excellent detailer, a car detailer. I mean, he was expensive too. But he said, for $250, I can make your car look like nobody else can. I mean, I go into really intricate detailing inside and out. and that's my business, and I'm really good at it, and I have all my stuff I can do it with. And so we said, all right, Dallas, Fort Worth, Collin County, there's probably 10 million people. So let's say there's at least 4 million cars. We're just taking a guess here. Is everybody his customer? Well, we need to say no, okay? When we look at our customer, we want to start with something called the smallest viable market, okay? The smaller the target, the more intense your focus can be. When it's a very wide target, it's difficult to focus on. So we needed to really get his viable market down. So he just started thinking, hey, who needs their car looking great all the time? And this is a high price point. And so we think about, wealthy people. Okay, that at least narrows it a lot down. Very wealthy people. So we could define what neighborhoods and what cities those might be. Maybe Highland Park, Plano, South Lake area, Keller, Colleyville. Those are cities in this area. Some parts of Fort Worth. Okay, still broad though, still broad. Who would like to have it? Who really needs their car to look amazing all the time? And so, maybe business people do. And then it's okay, great. A lot of business people in this area. But who works out of their car and always has to have it look good? Well, we came up with realtors. Okay, now that makes a lot of sense. A realtor has to show up in a very good-looking car. That way it shows their prospective customers that they're selling houses. Someone's going to buy your house. I can sell it. I can get you the deal you need, and I'm very successful at that. Okay, so we got that. What are some frustrations of realtors? They cannot, the social consequences. I can't show up in a car that looks dirty. I'm working all the time. So does a realtor have the ability to go to a car wash, all right, in those areas, wait an hour to 2 hours to get their car detailed very well, and then an hour a week to have it washed? No, they're making deals, and they're looking for prospects. They're online doing real estate analysis and housing sales. So he said, hey, I got that covered, my student did, because I'm going to go to their office. I have a truck. I have everything there. So we found some of the highest performing, what we believed, using some market research, real estate offices, and he was able to really narrow down his market from 4 million cars to 3 really good agencies in the DFW area, closer to where he was, so that would have been in South Lake. And he's able to do very well on a part-time basis, and he really solved somebody's pain that they didn't have to drive to a car wash, and he did a better job, got paid very well, and has a great customer return because he's washing their car every week, and he's waxing it about every month or so, because again, their car has to be immaculate all the time. Customer pain points, my friends. What difficulties are your customers encountering? Do they know how things work? I mean, you can list this out. That's why I have the PowerPoint for you here. What do they fear? Are they afraid of those technical risks? What mistakes? Are they using your product correctly? Those are some barriers of adoption. Adoption means when they buy your product or service, do they know how to do it? Is it a learning curve? We know for an older generation that the smartphones are not the easiest thing in the world. They love the flip phone still, some of those jitterbugs. So again, what makes it easier for your customer to use? That's some things we like to do. The gains are this: what makes your customers happy? What quality levels do they expect? What makes it easier? All right, and of course, what are they looking for most? So we find the pain and we combat that with a gain, obviously, and make their lives easier and sell your product or service. So as we look at the customer, that is the heart of the business model. Okay, every business has to have a target customer, target market. If we say we're all things to all people, then in essence, we're really nothing to anyone in the business world. Walmart has their core customer. Target has their core customer. Amazon has, I believe, 5 to 7 core customers that they continually seek out. That's what the business is built around. And then other customers may come in. That's fantastic. But these are the ones that are their customers. So as you identify them, are they growing? Is it a big customer base? Are they risky? Which means a high risk market could be this. If I get in there, what will the competition do? I was just looking at cell phone providers, cell phone manufacturing. So we have Apple number one, we have Samsung number two. It's a very short list of the rest. LG is number three. Could we make up a cell phone production business and compete against that? Well, I thought Google could do it, Google Pixel. Google has maybe, I don't even think they have 2% of the cell phone market, and it's hard pressed to find a company bigger than Google. Well, we did, Samsung and Apple. I mean, they're all those same ginormous companies. That's a high risk market to get in. Again, and are the costs very, very expensive? What is the cost for a new customer? That's customer acquisition costs, and customers are expensive. Never, ever want to discount how hard it is to get a new customer. And again, what are all the marketing and sales expenses that you have, and you divide that by your new customers coming in, that tells you how much the cost is. And generally speaking, it's several. It could be $5 to $10 for a regular service-based customer. It could be up to $200 on an online customer per customer. So we want to know that. And again, we then choose the market that we want to target. Profitability, we'll look at price coming up in these lectures, but we need to have a profit. And it needs to appeal to our target market, but we also have to be profitability. There's all sorts of expenses that you'll always incur, and many of them you don't realize until you realize them, and until you get your business going on. So my best advice here is, what can we do to keep a high price? What can we do? Not we don't want to race to the bottom. We don't want to try to compete with a Walmart because their margins are 30%. We need something higher than that, and we base that upon great customer experiences and great value-driven products and services. All right, we always want to know in the business model, where are our revenue sources? Again, can we sustain that profitability over time? And that is, can we get into new markets? Will customers adopt our product? Will they continue to buy? All sorts of possible revenues for our business idea. And again, can we implement it? Can we have the capabilities? And can we sustain this? Can we have that competitive advantage over time? That's how the proof of concept is established. Finding some pain points. Now, this is Tarrant County College Northeast Campus. Do we have any pain here for students? Well, back in the day, before COVID, we were mainly on-campus student society, and so our parking is crazy. That's always a very pain. Any college or university, it's hard to find parking, and if you don't get at a campus very early in the morning, if you come around the 9, 10, 11 o'clock, where most of your mid-morning courses are, we may be like this. We may be double parked and just saying, how do we get out of this mess? And so when you only have one provider for food on campus, and that's a Subway, hey, Subway can be very good, but every single day we want something different. But man, I don't want to lose my parking space. I don't want to have to go away and then to get something to eat. So I'm kind of stuck here for a while. Also, problems I saw on the campus. I see we have a Dunkin' Donuts near us. We have a Starbucks. We have Roots Coffee. I see a lot of students with those cups in line and back on campus. So what if we had something? Students have limited time. You are coming from work. You're coming right from the home. You don't have time for a 20-car pile-up line at your favorite beverage place, and then come to class. Wouldn't it be great if something on campus was available? All right, that we had an option for some really good caffeine fixes, because we're in college. We need to stay awake during these very long and boring lectures that professors give. I don't want to wait in class. I want to have a spot I can go to. And if you're a weekend or an evening student, there's almost no options, because Subway closes down very early. I think around 4 o'clock. And so if you're coming straight from work Unless you pack something early that morning, you're just sitting there trying to look at the vending machines that may not work, and you're out of luck until later that evening. Wouldn't it be great if there was a better option on campus? Would that solve some of our problems? And it's a place to hang out. So maybe that's our idea. All right, delicious coffee, smoothies, snacks, healthy, great location, never need to leave campus. We'll put it in the center of the campus. Years ago, we were remodeling our library, and the library had a first floor that nothing was really being done with, so we could look at putting it there. But there's some space we could do. You could actually order your coffee, order your drink, have it delivered, ready to you to pick up, maybe even delivered to your classroom. I mean, we think of all sorts of ways to relieve pain. Have an app, order it, pay for it, and pick it up, or have it delivered. You get very creative. You could sketch out all sorts of design, building menus, sandwiches, all sorts of great stuff, and you get so psyched up you just need a couple $100,000 for some seed money to get things going. Well, you like that? The president likes it. We'll call it Caffeine Central. Once we have this fantastic idea, my friends, maybe we need to do just a little extra research on it, because the idea in our mind just can't go wrong. But we always want to understand that industry and the market we're in, whether we're small or large. Mark Cuban, whose idea, was Shark Tank, and several billion dollars of wealth. Sweat equity is the most valuable equity there is. Know your business industry better than anyone else in the world. And you got to love it. You got to love it, or you don't do it. Steve Jobs said the same thing. You'd have to be kind of crazy to give everything, all your energy, all your finances, and work if you don't like it. Why would you be doing that? So absolutely love it, and get some of that industry down. And well, that sounds obvious, all right? Entrepreneurs have great confidence in their idea, and sometimes our confidence is overconfidence. And as the graph says here, the level of overconfidence and the cost of our mistakes kind of go hand in hand. The more overconfident we are, the greater those mistakes and costs can be. And even Cuban said this, I was watching on one, I wrote this down off of a Shark Tank. He goes, you know what, we do tend to lie to ourselves. We think that product or service is fantastic, but our customers are telling us something different. They really didn't like it. But we would still believe it and press on. So we really want to not overanalyze or paralysis by analysis, but just get a good feel for where we are in. Yeah, so do we know our suppliers as this business idea grows? Do we know some of the competition and who the customers are? All right, that's where we want to at least start with. And that's what we've done in this course. We've started with the situation analysis. We've looked at what type of business formation we want to create. All right, you got that head start. Here's a great way to do some of this research. If you did find an industry that you may just want to go full-time in, work there first. Maybe work part-time. If you're interested in working in that industry, all right, start understanding the details of the industry. Now, my entrepreneurial experience is in service businesses. It's in landscape contracting, and I thought I would like to own a landscape nursery back in the wonderful decade of the 90s. And so I went into business with a nice nursery that was already established, and I was the manager of that. I worked in that area, and so I would always think I'd wanted a full-service garden center myself with specimen quality, all sorts of maintenance, premium price, because I just love it. And but I didn't know anything about that retail side. I knew about the service side, so I started managing that garden center when I was working on my graduate degree, and I gained a wealth of information, my friends. Now, I did it full-time. You could do it part-time, but I knew all the suppliers from coast to coast, the trends, the markups, when to place orders, most importantly, when to stop placing orders. This is a very interesting business because your inventory is pretty much a living product. And living things can die, and they can get frozen in the wintertime, and it takes a lot of care and maintenance for that. So when to stop the ordering, cash flow, when to pay bills, my friends, as you go deeper and deeper into your business ideas and your business goes running for a while, you don't put suppliers first on the pay list, all right? That's just, we can't do that. You work with them, you negotiate every way you can. There's an order to paying things. Create the marketing plan. I did a lot of stuff, and I could also see colossal change, because Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot, just to name a few, were starting to really look at this division of their business operations and say, we can do garden centers. In fact, I can get the customer there all day. So they can buy their gardening, their home products, their lumber, anything they need. And now, of course, that was well before Walmart was doing groceries. So we can get them for everything. And so it made it difficult. And of course, their margins could kill a small business, but they just put them out of business. So we had to think very, very, very differently. So think about that. You may want to work in an industry a little bit just to kind of get a quick understanding, a good understanding of how to deal with that. Well, in our market research, as I kind of look at the coffee business, let's go college students, all right? Need a caffeine fix. May not be coffee, but it has to be a caffeine fix. The average college student on a traditional college campus is anywhere from 18 to 27 years old. At the community college, we certainly go to the 27-year-old range as well as the average. I need a beverage, smoothie, snack. I need quick service. I don't want to sit there and haggle all day. I would love to just be able to pick it up, right? Order it from my car as I walk in. There's my order right there. Hey, it'd be great for a relaxed environment to study. Just take a break. Central location. That would probably be my primary target. At least I want to paint a picture. Again, the smaller the target, the more detailed I can get. I can really focus on that. I'd also say, well, you know what? There's also colleges are pretty good employers too. So, we may have on any given campus of Tarrant County College or any other campus that you would go to, you may have several hundred employees. Okay, they want some of the same stuff. Quick service, something to the norm. They don't want to have to go to only one place each day. Have that break, central location, a lot of meetings. Maybe those meetings could be catered. There's some ideas of how to get your customer profile. You know what? We're painting a picture, my friends. We're doing the best we can. It will never be exact, but we have one arrow to shoot, and that's the target we need to shoot at. We have one golf ball to putt, and we want to sink that 12-foot putt. So, coffee industry, Google Trends, great ways to do some research too, my friends. There's so much out there. You know what? As I look at the coffee industry, wow, people want organic beans, fair trade, sustainable practices. The harvesting of coffee itself, just the bean, the plant. It's not a very eco-friendly product because coffee plants can overtake a lot of the rainforests. And again, how you overproduce and overplant and overharvest. So I found a lot of this stuff out as I was researching, and so maybe we can do this better and pay people better wages. That's the fair trade coffee beans. I've got all sorts of research on your Canvas page, but size up. Tarrant County Small Business Development Center. This is a great website for our area, and it will branch out to national websites as well. You can literally find things out in zip codes, blocks. That's pretty wild. Those neighborhood blocks. This is the site we used for my student earlier when we would find out that we want to do real estate companies, and we found some of the high-end ones in the area of South Lake and the neighborhoods that housing prices, and that's how we made our decision. So it's a great step, my friends. So much out there. As I look at it, how big is the coffee industry? Hey, you might want to start there. How big is your industry? We could look at nationally. The U.S. coffee market is $40 billion a year spent. $13 billion spent in coffee shops. Profit margins 3 to 5% after all expenses paid. That's traditionally what we have. Capital requirements. I can do a kiosk, maybe a $60,000 setup. What's the smallest viable market? What's the smallest amount you need to start your business before you just put everything into it? Things to look at. I got some numbers in here. It's essential. We drink it. The average American drinks 3 cups a day. College student, somewhere around 2 cups of coffee a day or a caffeinated drink. And the trends, 2% growth rate. I mean, we're in a pretty saturated market, but it is a huge market here. And it's 2% growth rate. I might want to look at my competition. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of market research. Competition comes into 2 areas. Is it a direct competitor or an indirect competitor? Direct competitors are businesses who sell the same product or service you do. Indirect, those businesses that might sell something similar to yours. So direct competition for my business would be Starbucks, because there's one down the street. There's a Roots coffee shop. There's a Dunkin' Donuts. Hey, there's a Subway on campus. There's coffee shops in the local area. Very direct. We can list all those. Don't forget the indirect. Well, McDonald's is really not known for, they're known for other things, but they sell a very good cup of coffee. And they have some frozen coffee drinks, other fast food restaurants. What about convenience stores and grocery stores? Well, not only might they have a little coffee kiosk area, they also sell coffee. All right, they sell the beans. And so maybe a coffee machine on campus. So I just list all the factors of who I'm going up against. The more I looked at my competition, where was the real growth in the coffee market? And for the past 10 years, it's been home brewing. Yeah, 13% annual growth rate. That's a huge growth rate. 12 billion a year. So that may be a competitor right there. And the competition of that would be my students, my customers already coming with coffee. I got to make it really good to want them to try something different as well. So we have the Keurig, of course, the French press. That needs to be on my horizon. As you take your notes, here is something really interesting. What if you were to ask other people before you make this move? And you can find that. People who have a business that you would like to get into, go to trade shows, industry suppliers. You can go to salespeople who sell to those businesses, products and services. And you would ask this question. And this is a bonus project for my class. You find 3 of them, 3 entrepreneurs. What are the top 3 to 5 critical success factors that you have to stay in business? No more than 5 and no less than 3. That's what we want to keep it to. You may find a great wealth of information. I found it, and you may be able to find some of this on the internet too, but I found that in the coffee business, it's got to have outstanding coffee. Why? Because anyone can make a really bad cup of coffee. Proprietary blends. Got to have something different. Again, that's my competitive advantage. On-site roasters. I mean, one reason, if you do like the coffee shops and the Starbucks and etc., that smelling of the roasting or re-roasting, that there's just the scent of the coffee, gives customers a great tasting beverage, an essential business. Product's got to be great. Always a critical success factor, my friends. Must know who our customer is, how to reach them. Are there enough located to make your business strong? Of course, employees. Oh boy, my friends, if you treat employees well, they will treat you well. They are the best marketing of any business, especially a retail-based business. They're the face. They represent you. It's got to be exceptional. Your barista needs to be great. Hey, I love coffee, but I'd be a terrible barista. I need someone who knows what they're doing. Even the person who says, I hate coffee, will fall in love with those lattes. Got to have an outstanding personnel, my friends. And of course, again, we're looking at marketing. We've got to have a loyalty program of some sort, fast ordering, clean out. Again, in our area, we thought, what if we delivered to a student's class? Hey, I think you're buying into that already. It's got to be great. I've got to have you. I can't have any customer in a regular business buy one time or service. I need you a subscription rate. I need you always buying my product. And as we put it together, my friends, I have this ready for you. This is how you start sketching out everything we just talked about. Here is the business model. When school was fun, we'd have to probably go back to elementary school, kindergarten, first, second, third grade. We got to draw, we got to run outside, we got to collect bugs and flowers, and we looked at them through magnifying glasses, and then school became quantitative, and science became numbers, and it all went downhill. Well, let's draw it out here. Here is the entire situation analysis right up here, the economy. So you can print this out, which I have. If you came to class, I've given students one. You can take this to Walgreens and print it, or come by and ask me and I'll get you one. Everything we know about situation analysis, any type of threats out there, opportunities. Of course, a threat, we now need to know that global catastrophes are a big threat. How do we minimize those threats, and how do we adapt to them? Here's the value. Here's the narrative right in here. What is your story? What is your business? It must be very easy to understand. The more complicated you hear someone talk about a business idea, and you say, you know what, dude, I can't even figure out what you're doing. And if I can't, I doubt your customer can either. Very easy. What's our mission? We put these together in stages. You know, you work on a painting. Not everyone's Bob Ross who can actually draw something great in 30 minutes. Most of us just sketch a little bit here, a little bit there. So what's the value proposition? Who do I think my target market is? What's my advantages? And as we go through this, what's my cost and pricing, which we'll get into? What's the industry about? What's the pain? What's the pain of my customer? Who's my competition? Who's my collaborators? Where are my suppliers? Where people are going to help me? And then again, what do I want the marketing experience to be? And I need it from the customer's point of view. That's your research when you ask customers, what would you like? And this is a great way to really analyze another business as well. And it's very interesting when a younger generation starts analyzing another business, and the first thing that a Z generation goes to is, where's your phone apps? How easy is it to find online? Because I really don't want to call and talk to anybody. I should be able to find everything I have with just a few swipes of the phone and be able to get my product. Interesting, interesting. We fill this out. Now you have the template to write out your business plan very easily and concise. So I would use a sticky notes, you know, your post-it notes, write your brainstorming, just stick them right on there. You can write this thing down if you want to, but everything will go right in here. And I think you'll like this idea. That is our first area as we start trying to formulate a business model. We're trying to design it. So we think of it as design thinking. What can we do to get as fast as possible and start testing the model if it will work? The next videos are going to go more in depth into this, into entrepreneurism, how to form that. What are some of the forms? What are some of the business valuations? And then we'll run into marketing and finish this great chapter unit up. Hey, thanks for watching.